tips to take smoke canisters, so we'll be able to see. There we go, starting to roll, and airborne in just a few feet. Straight up and straight into a roll. In fact, and another roll, and another roll, because what Steve is flying is a manoeuvre known as a rolling circle, where the aircraft traces the shape of a circle over the ground while rolling as it does so. A very difficult manoeuvre to do even when you're in the cockpit, let alone when you're controlling it from the ground, trying to work out which way's right, which is left, which is up and which is down. But Steve accomplished that very well. Straight up for the classic loop-to-loop, that's what it looks like, but he's actually performing a lower half of a vertical 8, describing the number 8 there in the sky. Half Cuban is a horizontal 8, as it's also known, so you don't often see vertical 8s displayed. Straight up into the vertical, and there's a very nice stall turn, as you heard Ando describing earlier. In case you missed it, a stall turn, the engine keeps going, but it's the wing that has stalled. It's no longer generating lift. And the object of the manoeuvre is to get each wingtip and the nose passing through the same imaginary point on the horizon. Now into the rolling circle once again, showing that the first time just wasn't a fluke. The Yak-54 is a 2-seat training aircraft, and you'll see that if you get up close to this model, there is a pilot figure inside it, plus a spare seat as well. And previously at the Midlands Air Festival, Steve has flown Geoffrey the giraffe in that spare seat. Now a nice knife edge pass. That's a Pete Tyndall smoke system with Pete Tyndall smoke fluid injected onto the exhaust, and the heat causes the fuel to evaporate and give us that smoke stream. Now he brings the aircraft to a stop, yes, to a stop, and watch as it just hangs from its propeller. Steve believes this model is the only one of its size and weight to be able to prop hang like this in the whole world. Look at that, absolutely stationary. I remember seeing this done with a full-size aircraft at the Farnborough International Air Show one year, and that was equally impressive. There's the smoke on, and now opening the throttle to power away. Oh, just a few feet from the ground. If you've been coming to the Midlands Air Festival for a few years, you may recall this aircraft sported a blue and yellow colour scheme a few years ago, but Steve's had this red and white checkered scheme for the last few years, and very nice it is too. Now a succession of spins in the inverted spin. Why did I suddenly think of Maverick, the film, the original one? Now a succession of rolls before levelling out, and you'd expect an aircraft to dive to build up speed, but no, Steve just opens the throttle and climbs. Really defying gravity. More than a handful of display pilots on the circuit these days actually honed their craft, flying radio-controlled aircraft aerobatics before moving up to the full-size thing. I actually think it's probably more difficult to control an aircraft during a routine like this using radio controlled than it is to actually do it in the cockpit. A nice slow roll there. With the power to weight ratio that this model has, the great advantage is that Steve can have a great deal of fun flying these aerobatic manoeuvres all within a very short area of where he's controlling it from. Inverted now once again. And without any of the discomfort that he would have if he was actually in the cockpit, because he's standing here on the ground under 1G instead of experiencing -2 or -3G, as would be the case if he were in the cockpit. Now prop hanging once again, he's come to a stop. And then diving down. Looks like he was setting up for a landing approach, but no, opening the throttle once more, and in that scurry of smoke, climbing away vertically once again. If modelling is your thing, let me tell you that the aircraft cowl is painted in 2-pack paint, and all the covering is lacquered using clear 2-pack, but vinyl lettering is stuck onto pro film prior to the aircraft being lacquered. The next model up in the Yak family is the Yak-55, which is a single-seat version of this aircraft. And if you're interested in this sort of thing, Google Yak-110. I came across one of those in Florida a few years ago at Sun and Fun air show. The Yak-110 is 2 Yak-55s stuck together with a jet engine in the middle. So it's not only Rich Goodwin with his pits that messes around with aeroplanes adding jet engines to them. It looked a bit like a P-38 Lightning as we approached during the aircraft's display. Now setting up, I think, for what looks like a landing approach. And this should be a very short landing run as well. Perhaps not quite in the class of Peter Davis with his Calidus autogyro, but not far off it. There we go, heel boy, heel. There he is, back to his owner. Great stuff there. That's Steve Carr, assisted by Francis Britton, and the Yak-54 radio-controlled aircraft. Yes, let's give them a big round of applause.